Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by Caliber Home Loans. At Caliber Wholesale, our products make us different, and our people make us great. Caliber Home Loans Incorporated is an industry product leader with a full offering of core conventional and government products, coupled with our innovative non-agency portfolio lending products. Contact us to learn more.
Welcome to Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway. This is created exclusively for Mortgage News Network and brought to you by our good friends at Caliber Home Loans. Last week we did see interest rates take a bit of a hit because the main reason was President Trump had mentioned the corporate tax plan coming to be announced much more quickly than expected over the next couple of weeks, and that could result in about a 5 to 10% improvement in corporate earnings. Certainly the stock market liked that, pulled some money out of the bond market, and that's one of the reasons why we saw interest rates get a bit worse. Now, where do we go from here? Well, the thing that we have to watch for is that we're at a pretty critical level, so we're going to see some volatility in either direction. A lot's going to depend on the events of the week. So let's outline them this week for you. Yes, there will be some inflation news, and that could potentially be market moving. We're going to get some real estate data, more on the new construction side. That's just great news to share with your customers and with your real estate agents. But I think the impact that we're going to see mostly will come from Janet Yellen's testimony this week. And we have to really watch for something that not a lot of people talk about, and that is the reinvestment of mortgage-backed securities. Now, it's possible that nobody questions Janet Yellen on this, or that Janet Yellen doesn't mention it, but there is also a reasonable chance to think that this subject will come up. To tell you the magnitude of this, the Fed is currently buying $8 billion last week, the week before $9.2 billion, $8.4 billion last week, the week before $9.2 billion in mortgage bonds. That's helping to keep rates pretty low when you have a buyer coming to the market like that. If the Fed weren't there, interest rates would probably be perhaps a quarter, 3/8% worse. Now, what we have to think about is if the Fed is asked this question, does the Fed say, well, you know what, maybe that might be one of the tools we use for tightening? That's why we're saying, look at inflation, look at the housing numbers, look at the jobs numbers that have been coming out. They've all been ticking up on inflation. Jobs numbers have been pretty strong. The Fed may be in a position where they have to consider something. Look, the Fed did not hike at its last meeting with a press conference. So they're going to have 8 total meetings, 5 with press conferences. They tend to hike at meetings with, or move at meetings with press conferences. So one's done. The Fed says they're going to hike 3 times this year, right? Now, look, they've been wrong a lot in the past, but if we take them at their word, that means there's only 4 left with press conferences. If they don't hike in March, they're left with very little flexibility as to what they're going to do. So maybe one of the things that's brought up is this reinvestment tool. And why is this so important? Well, we know quantitative easing 1, quantitative easing 2, quantitative easing light, quantitative easing 3. They all resulted in some buying of mortgage-backed securities, pushing interest rates lower. And when we saw that, QE eventually ended. But what didn't end was this reinvestment. The reinvestment, just to remind you, that's if you close somebody's mortgage on a refi, or if it's a purchase and they sell their home, the money eventually funnels through to the Fed, which has held these bonds, and now they have cash instead of the bond. So what the Fed has been doing is reinvesting this cash and buying more mortgage-backed securities. They're not increasing their balance sheet, but they're not decreasing their balance sheet. So they're keeping it the same. But still, look at how much they're buying. $8-9 billion a week. Imagine if that wasn't there. We have to kind of stay on top of this, because if this happens, we've got to tell our customers who are thinking about buying a home, get in before rates probably take a little bit of a move higher. It could happen within the next month or so after the Fed announces that they're going to slow down, depending if they taper, if they stop cold. But even on the announcement, we probably could see some volatility. So anyway, listen, hope you guys have a great week ahead. And you're crazy if you're not on MBS Highway. We're not just a rate service. We coach you every day. And I'll tell you what, if you're not using the marketing tools or the real estate data from every place in the country, there's more competition for transactions. We help you help the real estate agent sell the home. Get on board. Give it a try. Crazy if you don't. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Your reputation with your referring business partners depends largely on the lenders you recommend. This is why you'll want to choose a partner who shares your commitment to customer service. At Caliber Home Loans, our products make us different and our people make us great. A leading product innovator. In addition to our core conventional, government, and jumbo loans, we've created our own non-agency portfolio lending products. These enable you to assist creditworthy clients who can demonstrate the ability to repay. To learn more, visit us online at caliberwholesale.com.
This is Mortgage News Network.